Hello, folks. Robert Chinnery here again. I've got a new camera, so I'm hoping it's a clearer view for you. The view up here above Hamilton, Ontario, really sucks for the average person. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about gentrification. It seems to me like gentrification is a really good thing for the political and economic elites in Hamilton and Toronto, for that matter. We've got a bunch of people coming in here that push up house prices and apartment rents, and it's just getting really intense now. I could give you an example of the apartment building that's going to be going up on James Street across from the YMCA. In actuality, that was a heritage building at one time, but through some type of maneuvering, this building got torn down. It was a beautiful church. Now it's going to be used as what they call a hybrid building to house the condoites from Toronto. And there's probably about 15 or 20 feet left of that church. And I actually saw a sign on there at one time that said Heritage Building. So this is the type of thing we're dealing with, is these big builders coming in. And I'm wondering how they always seem to get their way. And there's very little community consultation on these things. For example, the new construction at the Tivoli. There's a lot of sort of artifacts. I don't know. They're not as old as in a church that are there. And the builder, the architect, is saying that they may be put in storage. They may be incorporated in the design. He or she is not sure. Well, gee, I don't think I'd hire an engineer or an architect like that to build my building that don't actually have plans for what's going to go into it or what's going to happen to it. All along, the city's very amenable to the whole situation here with these builders. Now, while this is all going on, we have some serious problems in Hamilton that should be being addressed by the politicians and are not, that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks in the city. If you are addressing these problems. For example, jobs in Hamilton, are they being created? Is there going to be a retraining program that gets people working again, and so forth? I noticed through all the things that were put through my door during the last city election, I really couldn't find anybody, even the mayoral candidates, who seemed to have that on those pamphlets, unless it was something they didn't publish. Jobs are very important, and all our jobs are gone from the free trade process of the 80s and 90s. Anybody that was in Hamilton in the 70s would have seen a completely different situation on Burlington Street. As a matter of fact, it was packed with industry. There was a lot of people working at Stelco and DeFasco. There was other companies there like Firestone, Procter & Gamble, and so forth. So they've either closed up shop or moved south. And there's been no plans by the city to get these jobs back and be just content to have employers like McMaster University and the hospitals, which require a high level of education and skills, to be our major employers here. Correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't see anybody else. I'd like to make a comparison as a person that formerly lived in Brantford, Ontario. As I was leaving Brantford, I had to leave there because there was no jobs. The major farm machinery companies were closing up. Eventually, they developed a crisis, as we have in Hamilton, I believe, for employment for people that are regular workers that require a corporation or something to work for. And a couple of enlightened mayors went to the trouble of trying to attract medium-sized business. Now, as I travel in up that direction to visit friends, I still notice a very good concentration of medium-sized and small companies that employ people. And I think that was a very good plan and a very good, foresight on the city's part in Brantford. And yet Hamilton can't do it. I just find this very surprising. So we are going to have, according to the newspaper and other things that I've read, an economic renaissance. Okay. Well, how do you have an economic renaissance without having jobs? That's a very good. Inquiry there. The economic renaissance is driven by real estate prices going up, people coming in from out of town, and I don't believe that they're going to be bringing jobs with them. I could be wrong. And rents going up. Okay, so the other thing here is the fact that the poor in this Hamilton, in this Hamilton, Ontario that we live in, is getting worse and worse. And if you don't believe me, I would invite you to either drive down Barton Street or walk down there at any time of the day or night, and you are going to see some pitiful, pitiful sights. The reason that you're going to see that is the poor are definitely getting poorer. There's food banks there, I guess possibly some new ones. The living conditions are horrendous for these people, and I'm sure that if they could afford a better place to stay, that they would. This whole area of Hamilton has been completely neglected. And if you go to Dundas or Ancaster or up in the mountain, you're going to see that they have very nice services, recreational centers, very nice schools. The streets are well paved. It's clean. And the police presence there is mostly for property crimes. Downtown Hamilton is disgusting. I just walked by there the other day with my dogs and was almost hit with material from a welding process that wasn't even sectioned off from the public. So it's just amazing that on the one side, the people that really don't need anybody's help, which are the ones that have enough money to move to Hamilton, obviously you've got some money, and our residents here who need the help and need the jobs, I would like to see that city councillor or anybody connected to the city to come forth and please explain that to me, because I don't see it happening. So folks, I hope that you don't find this boring or anything. It's very important to me as a person that lives here right now, and I really, really recommend that a young couple that are here move to another community. None of these people that are running things here care about you, and they're not going to help you. As far as the retired people are concerned, rents are going up, so their lifestyle may be degenerating unless they've already got a good place. And basically, as I mentioned, the poor are getting poorer. There's more people coming into the city from other places, and they have to be looked after as well, the newcomers. That's something that the federal government policy there, and they're not putting any money into the city for that. So to me, the whole thing is really, really pitiful. It's just like, if you want to read Dickens, it's a really good example of Hamilton, Ontario, and it looks like that. Thank you very much for listening to this. Bye.